Hello and welcome to our tutorial. We're going to have a look at some lights and shadows and rendering in this tutorial. So this is a model. There is a spotlight and a ground plane, and we're just going to have a little look at the different kind of possibilities and settings that we have in Blender in the Cycles render engine to kind of control how this looks. So I'm going to start by just jumping into solid mode so you can see where everything is and what it looks like. So I have a little robot here with a walk cycle. So he's plodding along. So there's my robot, and I have a ground plane. I'll get rid of my timeline here, I don't need that, and I'll just open this up for a minute. So the ground plane has a very basic sort of node setup. We have a diffuse image coming in here, so it's got a materials, so it's a concrete sort of image. I have a spec map coming in for my shiny things are, and then I have a normal map coming in, and it's repeated for the robot character. So the robot character has a diffuse map coming in up here. From its UV coordinates, it has a specularity map, and it has a normal map. So and you can see the normal map's turned up really high. Now these maps were generated in GIMP, so the spec map and the normal map, based on a sort of an ambient occlusion bake in Blender. So this is our robot, and we're going to have a look at lighting. So at the very basic, we're just going to add in one light, and we're going to add in a sun, and we're going to reduce the power of the sun to just a value of 1. And what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the lamp in the node editor, and we're going to look at its settings, which are basically duplicated over here, and have a look at how it works. So the first thing to have a look at is the direction the light is traveling in. So I can press OR, and it'll, I'm rotating around this, so let's say individual origins. So I can rotate my sun. Its proximity to the character is irrelevant, so how close it is won't make it brighter or darker. It will with other lamps, but not with a sun. So let's go to render mode and see what we've got. So this is our character here, and we have a sunlight. Now as I increase my value here, I get brighter, and I have this very simple sort of shadow behind the character, very soft shadow. So let's have a look at the shadow and how maybe we would manipulate that. So the way Cycles deals with shadows is very simple. First of all, you can turn them off, so it doesn't cast a shadow. And then secondly, this here, size. So as I decrease the size of the emission object, i.e. the lamp, the shadow will get much sharper. So if I want a very sharp shadow, and I want the light coming from one tiny point in space, I need to reduce the size of the lamp. And then as I start to increase the size of the lamp, or the area from which the lamp is emitting, you'll notice that the shadow gets softer. And as I increase a lot the size, you can see first of all it gets darker, and that's literally because the light is being spread over a bigger area, and also the shadow almost disappears. So it's sort of you can kind of fine tune that yourself to kind of give the look that you want. And that sort of So these two combined, so the strength of the lamp and the size of the emission object, these two combined will determine how bright your scene is and the shape and appearance of your shadow. So let's have a quick look at some of the other lamps that we have. So we have a point lamp. A point lamp is, as it would suggest, it is a point in 3D space. So I'm just going to again quickly nip into material mode. I'm going to have a look at this lamp, so its position. So I'm going to change its position and put it down near the character's feet and go back into rendered mode. And we can see that proximity, or the location of the lamp, makes a big difference to its effect in the scene. So where the sun lamp, its position is irrelevant, it's just sort of parallel light all going in one direction. A point lamp is, its position is critical to how it lights the scene. Again, we can change the color of the lamp to get a particular effect, and we can increase the power of the lamp. And then coupled with that, we can change the size of the lamp. So at 0, you can see again we've got a harsh shadow, and the light is coming from a very small point in space. And then as we increase the size of the emission point, the scene gets darker and our shadow almost disappears. So again, it's sort of a balancing act to try and find the look that you want. Okay, so the next type of lamp along here is a spotlight. So again, let's go to material mode, and we'll be able to see where the light is. So I'm going to look from the side, or from the front here. I'm going to go G, lift this up, and then look from the side and rotate my lamp down here, and we'll have a little look at what a spotlight can do for us. So we'll go back to rendered mode, and here's my spotlight. You can just about see the top of the head. So let's increase the power of this lamp, so that's very bright. And then what we can increase here is the size of the cone, the area being illuminated. And at the moment, the lamp is quite small. It's 1 centimeter, or the point emitting, the size of the emission point is quite small, and hence we're getting quite a sharp shadow. We also have this slider here for a spotlight that we don't have for the others, which is blend, and it's sort of how sharp the edge of the spotlight is. So if I bring it all the way to the left, you'll see I get a very hard, tight line, like a spotlight you'd see in the theater. And then as I bring it across here, you can see that I've softened the edge of it, again down to your sort of personal choice. And I can also then increase the size of the spotlight to try and get a completely different look. So this is almost like sort of a cylinder of light that we have coming down here. So we can get some really interesting lighting effects, changing both the characteristics of the shadow and the shape of the emission and the power of the emission. And then these two lights, a hemisphere and an area light. A hemisphere is basically half a sun, so it only lights in one direction, so you can be behind a hemispherical light, so it's the position of it is important. And an area light is, as suggests, you can put in the shape of the area that's emitting the light, and if you can imagine like a rectangular fluorescent light on your ceiling, this is trying to emulate that sort of idea, that you can have a long strip of light in your scene, and try and control that. And like I said, you can swap here between square and rectangle. So that's just a very quick sort of intro into lighting with cycles. And like I said, you have to light a walk cycle for me shortly, so hopefully the information in this will improve the look of the renders that you produce.